Ladies and gentlemen, the moment we've been waiting for is here. Wembley, are you ready? Let's get this party started! Now making his entrance to the ring, the first of our two champions in this main event. He's the IBF World Champion, Triple D, Daniel Dynamite Dubois!
So Daniel Dubois is ready, and he carries the hopes of a nation with him as he tries to do what no fighter has done and beat Oleksandr Usyk as a professional. He's on a roll. He says he intends to come out bombing and win by any means necessary tonight. And if he does, he'll make history under the famous Wembley Arch. Triple D is ready to roll. And people holding their phones up all around this stadium. And there's highlights of Daniel Dubois' spectacular knockouts on the big screen. And after all the build-up, the training camp, all the words that have been said, the moment of truth has arrived for the IBF heavyweight champion of the world. And the crowd get to see him on the big screen for the first time. And he's going to walk out of the dressing room, and as they tend to do here, there's a bit of a circuit of the stadium, and then they end up on a platform, and no doubt there'll be pyrotechnics there. And then he'll take in this atmosphere and feel what it means inside this stadium. This is his moment of truth, Steve.
And I think you have to take it in, Fletch, because if you don't take it in, you're ignoring an important part. You need to take a breath there, like Katie Taylor does when she's in big fights, like AJ does when he's in big fights, like Carl Frost did when he was big fights. Just take a breath, take it in.
On that platform, there's a shower of sparks. It really is a spectacular sight, and everybody inside the stadium seems to be standing with their phones in the air, lit up. We've got flames cascading all around, and we wait to see Daniel Dubois emerge into the arena. It's not that long a walk, is it, from the dressing rooms through the tunnel, and then the walk can begin, the ring walk, which can often be an inspiration for a fighter. Sometimes it can go the other way, but it must feel special when you do it here.
You know, really powerful fighters have given me their testimony. George Groves, who's standing right behind us, Carl Frost and AJ, have all said it takes your breath away, it makes you go weak at the knees, but it's the greatest feeling in the world, Fletch.
So the music changes, and I don't think it's going to be too long until the crowd in here get to see Daniel Dubois. The last time he was here, he spectacularly stopped Anthony Joshua, started the fight well, had one or two moments mid-fight where you wondered whether AJ was going to get on top, but he finished him off with an outstanding punch. It's got to be even better than that tonight against a man who's never lost as a professional, hasn't lost a fight of any description for 16 years. And here comes Daniel Dubois with the cap sleeve robe on, very, very wide collar, black down the middle and grey on the arms, and those black trunks, and he's got a glare, he's got real purpose on his face, he's got a very, very determined look in his eye as he makes his way to the ring in the black gloves, and he looks completely unfazed by all of this. He looks very comfortable to me.
He looks more comfortable there to me than he did when we saw him 4.5 minutes ago in the dressing room. That's like a man who's made peace with his destiny this evening. Has he seen the fireworks? Has he seen the crowd? A change has come over him. I like what I see there, Fletch.
There's a real purpose, Richie, on his face.
Yeah, look at his eyes, Fletch. His eyes are just fixed right in front of him. He's not looking around, just looking forward. He's bobbing and weaving. He's throwing some shots. He looks very, I think he looks comfortable, to be quite honest. He looks ready. He really does. Look at him there, just gritting his teeth a little bit. I like what I see here.
Just gave himself a little cheer-up, didn't he, as he walks towards the platform. He's got security all around him, but I thought this was going to be a big moment for him, and I was certainly wanting to see what he looked like when he walks out into the arena. And if body language is anything to go by, I'm a little bit more confident in Daniel Dubois now, Steve.
The man we saw backstage is not this man. That man has transformed during that tunnel walk. Fletch, he's talking to himself. He's psyching himself up.
Fireworks going off on the Wembley Stadium roof, which really is creating a spectacular sight. And Daniel Dubois bouncing up and down on this platform and looking at the ring, staring at the ring. And you'd love to be inside his head right now to know what he's thinking. There's a bit of Mike Tyson about him, you know, with the black trunks and the very short black ankle boots. Iron Mike used to look like this in his heyday when he used to come storming to the ring. And he's such a fine physical specimen, isn't he, Daniel Dubois? He's always ready for a big night like this. He carries the power, and he looks in magnificent condition.
And there's never been a second's doubt about his conditioning coming into the ring. Sometimes the doubt is about what's in his head. I've never seen Daniel Dubois look that focused. He's still having a conversation with himself, a whole conversation.
His words this week were, I could be bombs away, I will win by any means necessary. And he has a look on his face that tells you he feels that he's in tip-top condition and ready to go, and he climbs through the ropes and he's into the ring now, Daniel Dubois, bouncing up and down, and he's ready to go.
He looks in good condition, Fletch, and certainly there wasn't one smile. I watched that ring walk, he didn't smile at one person. His eyes were fixed, Stevie, right to the very end there, getting into the ring.
And he didn't smile when he bumped into Frank Warren in the ring. He didn't shake hands with Frank Warren. He's not noticed anybody else in the ring. This is Daniel Dubois' land.
And now making his entrance to the ring, he is the undefeated Oleksandr Usyk.
The velvet tones of the one and only Michael Buffer. And now the crowd, as they were treated to images of destruction from Daniel Dubois, they're seeing similar images of Oleksandr Usyk beating Tyson Fury on the big screen, and words like remarkable and undefeated are being flashed across that screen. Undisputed legacy also on that screen here at Wembley Stadium. Oleksandr Usyk is an all-time great. Regardless of what happens tonight, he's been undisputed champion at cruiserweight and at heavyweight, and he's quite rightly mentioned among the legends of the sport. Hasn't lost for 16 years and provides the toughest possible test for Daniel Dubois. And it's the final few words and the final few thoughts for Oleksandr Usyk, who has a whole troop of supporting cast around him, men in long, shiny dressing gowns, all walking down the tunnel, all part of the ring walk. Usyk's got the grey hood on, there's a glint in the eye, but there's that air of menace about the Ukrainian as well.
Menace, and he's on a mission, Fletch. He's on a mission to win tonight. Something upset him back in December. I'll tell you about it a bit later on during the show. And it's given him the motivation he needs. And Usyk with motivation, that's a dangerous man.
There are quite a few yellow and blue flags of Ukraine around Wembley Stadium tonight, and we know just how patriotic Usyk and his team are. They fight for the country as well as fighting for his own legacy. I noticed they've just unfurled a gigantic Union flag in the middle of the ring as well. That just might be a one-upmanship from Daniel Dubois. And now the crowd get to see Usyk, who looks focused, he looks impassive, and he looks ready, as he always does. Totally focused on the job ahead, in a long grey dressing gown with a hood over his head. And here he comes, the great Usyk is on his way to the ring.
I'd say he looks more serious than I've ever seen him look. I'd say he looks more focused than I've ever seen him look. And if the story I've got about his motivation for this fight is true, Fletcher, which I'll explain later, then I truly believe that's why we're seeing that look.
I have to say that I did describe it as a grey dressing gown. If Liam Gallagher wore that on stage, then they would sell thousands of them. It's a brand that people might know that I won't mention, but I think he fits the summer. Oasis back on tour, and Oleksandr Usyk's walking in there like he's part of the band.
And the mad thing is, the security guy to his left has given up a week of Oasis, where he's been with Oasis for centuries now, to be here, and Noel and Liam begged him to stay with them, but that man there, Bob, said no, I've got to go and do my Oleksandr Usyk duty. That's a little story for you.
Well, I've got to say, there's a menacing look about the great Ukrainian as he walks forward, and he looks as though he's not aware that anybody else is in the arena. He's just completely focused on what he's got to do, He's such a great world champion. He was such a great Olympian, carries the hopes and expectations of a nation on his shoulders, and he couldn't look any better, Rich.
Fletch couldn't look any better, but look how calm he looks. Look how calm this fella looks, like he's seen it all before. This is the office job for Oleksandr Usyk. He looks fantastic. He looks so calm.
I tell you what, Rich, it's a hell of an office. The fireworks are going off again. We had them for Dubois, and now we've got them for Usyk, and they really are putting a show on in here.
They are indeed. Richie Woodall there with the understatement of the century. It's an office job for Usyk. 99,000 people. He's walking. Rich, I've never seen him fledge. I've never seen him look that serious and that focus. And I've repeated that walking to the ring.
He's about 15 yards away from the ring now, Oleksandr Usyk, flanked by his team, all dressed in grey as well. He's got a silver chain around his neck and a black T-shirt just poking out from that grey parka, that shiny grey parka. And he walks up the steps and he crosses himself, as he always does. And he steps over the top rope and into his office. And nobody's been better in that squared circle in the heavyweight division than the man that's just stepped in, Oleksandr Usyk.
Strictly business tonight. There hasn't been a lot of jokes all week, one or two little jokes. It's all been about business. It's all been about winning.
Flags of Ukraine flying around Wembley Stadium. There's support for Dubois, but there's lots of support for Usyk as well. And the two men are in the ring. 4 belts on the line. The Ring Magazine belt as well. One of them tonight will leave as the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the world-famous venue for sports and entertainment, Wembley Stadium, London, this is the moment we've been waiting for. Champion versus champion in the rematch. And now we turn the page to another chapter in boxing history. 12 rounds of boxing for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. And it's all brought to you by International Boxing Hall of Fame promoter Frank Warren for Queensberry Promotions, and sponsored by Riyadh Season, Ring Magazine, GG Bet, SNU Sanu, and Global Next Trade. And we are broadcast live worldwide on DAZN. Sanctioned by the British Boxing Board of Control, steward in charge, Charles Giles. The World Boxing Organization, President, Gustavo Olivieri. The World Boxing Council, President, Mauricio Suleiman. The World Boxing Association, Gilberto Mendoza Jr. The International Boxing Federation, Darrell J. Peoples, President. And the IBO, President Ed Levine. Timekeeper at the bell, Brett Bowles. The 3 judges scoring, Patrick Morley, Mike Ross, and Benoit Roussel. And in charge of the action in the ring when the bell rings, World Championship veteran referee, Mike Griffin. And now, the officials are in place, and they are ready. The fighters are in the ring, and they are ready. So for the 90,000 fans in attendance and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing black, officially weighing in at 243.8 pounds. His professional record, an excellent one. 22 victories. 21 of those 22 wins by knockout. Only 2 defeats. And tonight, he is looking for revenge and redemption. From London, England, the reigning, defending IBF heavyweight champion of the world, Triple D, Daniel Dynamite Dubois. And across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing gray with red, his weight officially 227.3 pounds. This Olympic gold medalist now, as a professional, has a perfect record consisting of 23 fights, 23 victories, including 14 wins by knockout. He's a two-division undisputed world champion from Samferopol, Ukraine, the current Ring Magazine champion, the reigning, defending, undefeated WBC, WBA, WBO, IBO heavyweight champion of the world, Oleksandr.
So the referee will issue the final instructions, and then we will find out who the best heavyweight on the planet actually is here at a sold-out Wembley Stadium. And your commentator on 5 Live will be Ronald McIntosh.
Don Charles with final instructions into the ear of Daniel Dubois. Oleksandr Usyk just exchanging hugs with his team over in that blue corner on the far side of the ring. Mike Griffin brings both men together now. Here's the final instructions. Let's see where he indicates that a fair blow on the belt line is.
Receive my instruction in the dressing room. Remember to protect yourselves at all times. Touch gloves now, man. You're boxing at the bell. God bless you both. Touch gloves, gals. Touch them. Go. Touch gloves.
A reluctant touch of gloves between these two heavyweight champions as they prepare to run it back after their first encounter in Wrocław, Poland in August 2023. Will it be a repeat victory for Oleksandr Usyk? Will it be revenge and redemption for Daniel Dynamite Dubois? So here we go then, 12 3-minute rounds for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world here at Wembley Stadium in London, England. We are on the centre circle of the National Stadium, and it's Daniel Dubois wearing solid black trunks with white decals and pink embroidery on the waistband on the rear. His moniker, Triple D. On the front, out of the orthodox stance in centre ring, operating out of the southpaw stance, wearing white trunks trimmed with red, is the former undisputed heavyweight champion, a former undisputed cruiserweight champion, as Dubois comes forward with a two-shot salvo, fires a right-hand lead, blocked effectively by a parry knockdown block by the southpaw Oleksandr Usyk. Action is in the middle of the boxing ring, and it's Usyk firing a left cross, but it was out of range as Dubois comes forward behind a left jab. There's a scoring right jab from Oleksandr Usyk in between the high held but wide apart hands of Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois, flat-footed, drives in a hard right hand to the sternum. Is he probing the perceived vulnerability of Oleksandr Usyk to the body once again? Action is in the middle of the boxing ring. Over a minute gone, and it's Usyk moving counterclockwise, now clockwise to his left, scores with a beautiful pushing jab in piston-like fashion to the chest of Dubois. Dubois comes forward behind a double jab, and that is going to be a really important punch. Right jab in response from Oleksandr Usyk. The battle for the front foot. Dubois comes forward behind a left cross right jab, but the battle for the front foot in this contest between orthodox and southpaw, absolutely crucial. Both men in the middle of the boxing ring, beyond the halfway stage of this opening round. Double jab right cross attempted by Daniel Dubois, but Usyk with his movements just ghosted away from the attempted combination. Dubois forward behind a right cross, followed up with a left hook, but Usyk dipping beneath the left hook and just dancing away to centre ring, counterclockwise on twinkle-toed movements. The action is in the middle of the boxing ring. Surely Daniel Dubois needs to get him towards the ropes where he can impose his greater bulk. Oleksandr Usyk weighing in at a career heaviest tonight, but I must say that he wore a crucifix that must have weighed as much as a bag of sugar, so perhaps in the neighbourhood that he always weighs, 226 or 227 pounds. The crowd with a crescendo of applause and cheers for both of the men as Daniel Dubois forward behind a double left jab. Usyk just on the edge of centre ring, now being driven back towards the red corner, takes a right cross. Daniel Dubois got his man pinned in the red corner just above our commentary position, fires in another right cross, but Usyk smartly spins out of the confined position back to the space of centre ring, and Dubois scoring effectively with good jabs to the body. Oleksandr Usyk blocks another incoming right cross with his left forearm and then gets to work with a double jab left cross, which causes Daniel Dubois to back up. Then a right jab to the body, and it's Daniel Dubois engaging reverse gear, but spinning off the line so he's not moving back in a straight line. Takes the left cross to the temple, and Oleksandr Usyk with a strong conclusion to the round. After Daniel Dubois had a good moment, Usyk got his get back.
That's the best round they've shared, the best round they shared. Whether Dubois won it or not is up for debate. It was Dubois' best round of all the rounds he's had so far of Usyk. Usyk's having to really work hard to not walk onto one of those jabs, to not walk onto one of those crunching right crosses. A great start from Dubois. Whether or not he won the round is different.
I actually thought he won the round, Steve.
Absolutely.
I thought he did the better work. Usyk came back into the last 30 or 40 seconds, but I thought Daniel did quite well with his own jab. He walked Usyk down. We know Usyk's a very good mover, but nevertheless, Usyk had to think a little bit more. And was certainly, he wasn't shaken by any punches, but at the same time, he was made to work harder and to keep Daniel Dubois off. I actually thought Daniel just nicked the round, but it was a close one.
And he did trap Usyk in this corner, the red corner right above our head.
Yeah.
Just to say that Frank Warren's in front of us. Daniel's father is right in front of us. We are in the corner here that matters.
So both men answer the bell to begin round number 2 in this battle for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. Oleksandr Usyk out of centre ring, snaking out jab to the head before dropping down with a good jab to the body. A clever left cross before spinning off the line counterclockwise to his right, and now engaging reverse gear. He is such a master at applying pressure with his feet, pressure with his feints, but it's Dubois looking to be focused and not distracted, trying to press forward, but again he's finding Usyk an elusive target to hit as he spins off the line. Usyk steps back in, scores with the right jab before taking a shot downstairs from Dubois. Daniel Dubois making the second defense of the IBF title that he was elevated to after winning the interim crown against Filip Hrgovic. Left cross to the body scores from Oleksandr Usyk. There's the two men on the edge of range, stepping in and landing with a bent arm jab is Daniel Dubois. Oleksandr Usyk just moving to his left. Daniel Dubois tries to cuff him with a left hook, and again Oleksandr Usyk trying to parry the incoming left jab with his lead southpaw right. In the battle between orthodox and southpaw, front foot position, the battle for centre ring, so important, but none other than the late great George Foreman and the late great Emmanuel Stewart said, sometimes forget ring position, go in there, let your hands go and fight. That is what Dubois is attempting to do. Takes a right jab at centre ring from Usyk, and another right jab as the two men saber rattle with the lead hands once again. Approaching the halfway stage of this second round as the two men continue to just operate in the space of ring centre. Dubois had success pinning Usyk to the ropes near the red corner once in the opening round. There he comes forward behind a left jab, kept the combination going and scored with a good right cross, which got Usyk's attention. Counter left hook was a beauty from Usyk after he made Dubois fall short with the attempted right cross. And now it's Usyk seeking to get on the front foot and is looking to back Dubois into his own red corner on this near side of the ring. Minute 10 remaining in this second round as Oleksandr Usyk, just on the edge of range, brackets his head with his hands. He's got his hands up high, and now it's Daniel Dubois seeking to press with his feet, but Oleksandr Usyk, such a dynamic, active figure. Daniel Dubois with his left hand down by his belt line. The men are in the middle of the boxing ring, and it's Usyk moving to his right while jabbing to his right. Right hand lead fighting against the southpaw from Daniel Dubois, but it was only caught by the glove of Oleksandr Usyk. Double right hand, hooking off the jab is Oleksandr Usyk out of the southpaw stance. Whips in a left uppercut behind a right jab. Daniel Dubois thought about unleashing a body shot, but found that Oleksandr Usyk had spun out of harm's way once again. 30 seconds remaining in this second round. The action approaching the neutral corner on the far side of the ring, but the men on the periphery of ring center. Right hand lead was a counter attempted by Daniel Dubois. Couldn't quite find the range. And Oleksandr Usyk, continuing to cut a composed figure, scores with a stabbing left cross to the body in between the splayed elbows of Daniel Dubois. Beautiful counter left cross again from Oleksandr Usyk after he made Daniel Dubois fall short. And now Daniel Dubois backing up. Did he feel the effects of that pinpoint accurate left cross and a right jab? Solid shot landed at Usyk by Usyk on the bell.
I stand corrected. The first round wasn't the best round they fought. That was the best round they fought. That was a sensational round. I thought Dubois had the right idea, Rich. He wasn't panicking, pushing back. However, Usyk was blocking the right hand every time and reading it, and then he's letting those left crosses go. And I think he's hurting Dubois when he connects cleanly with them.
He hurt Dubois in the last 30 seconds or so with a couple of good left hands. It was classic, actually, Usyk boxing, making the opponent fall short and then making him pay. He did it twice in that round. He's counter-punching on the front foot, making him miss, and then he's coming back with some better, more significant shots. I thought that was, I think the first round has actually got Usyk into gear there, Steve, and for me, Usyk's evened it up because that last 30 seconds.
Just to say, there was an exchange there where Daniel leant out of the ring, passed his head out of the ring, and conferred with his dad, Dave. They were chatting. Kieran Farrell and Don Charles fell silent for a bit. This is drama, Ronald. This is drama.
The Women's Euros, France and Germany, is on Sports Extra right here on 5 Live. You're listening to commentary of the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. We're in the third round of a scheduled 12. Oleksandr Usyk coming on strong in the closing seconds of round number 2, but then a right cross landed by Daniel Dubois, and another one. Oleksandr Usyk backing up behind high-held hands, continuing to move exclusively counterclockwise to his right, away from the potent right cross of Oleksandr Usyk. A pushing left jab landed with the heel of the glove by Daniel Dubois caused Usyk to momentarily lose that otherwise perfect balance, but now Usyk back with his boxing stance beneath him once again as he seeks to incrementally creep his way forward. Daniel Dubois and Oleksandr Usyk fighting for the prime piece of ring real estate at centre ring. Both men landing backhands, a right cross from Dubois, countered by a left cross from Oleksandr Usyk, and now Dubois doubling up the jab and got through with a right cross on the back of that 3-shot combination. Oleksandr Usyk takes a solid right cross, spins off to his right and nodding acknowledgement in Daniel Dubois' direction. Hook stunned it in by Daniel Dubois, only caught by the forearms of Oleksandr Usyk, who was defensively responsible. Minute 10 gone in this third round. The boxers in the space of centre ring, and now Usyk feinting, dipping over the front foot, trying to come forward, but Daniel Dubois holding his ground and trying to apply pressure to back up Usyk to the far side of the ring. But Usyk, so clever with his movement, spins off the line to present a different angle to Daniel Dubois. Double right jab left cross was short from Usyk. Daniel Dubois breathing through a mouth that's open, hands splayed around his pecs, elbows away from his ribcage, as the two men trying to think and feint their way into distance to unload heavy artillery. Remember, Daniel Dubois, all but one of his victories have come inside the distance. There's a counter left cross which was right on the button from Oleksandr Usyk, and he dipped the knees of Daniel Dubois, disrupting his stance. Then another left cross causes Dubois to back up, but he bites down, steps in and drives in a right cross to the body. Oleksandr Usyk now taking up residence near the neutral corner on the far side of the ring. This right hand side of the ring, goes away counterclockwise to his right, jams his toe into the canvas just to get some traction, and now the two men on the edge of range once again. Double jab right cross, so the right cross gets through from Daniel Dubois, but it wasn't fully loaded with power. There's a lead right hand which was a half hook, half jab from Usyk, which smacked squarely into the jaw of Daniel Dubois. 35 seconds remaining in this third round. Roundhouse right from Daniel Dubois, not too far away, and every modicum of success that he enjoys is cheered on heartily by a whole sea of humanity. Right next to our commentary position here on 5 Live, we've got Kieran Farrell, we've got Ian Juby, we've got his younger brother Solomon, as a left cross crashes home from Oleksandr Usyk, sending a shower of spray from the close-cropped hair of Daniel Dubois once again. Daniel Dubois trying to focus his way in, but a beautiful 2-shot combination, left cross to the body, right hook to the chin from Oleksandr Usyk. Daniel Dubois steps in behind a jab, lets the right cross go, but Oleksandr Usyk negating the power with small steps backwards.
What a round. Dubois has got his foot fully to the pedal. If he gets caught with a shot, he comes back with 2. Even if they miss, he's throwing them. This is so intense, Rich. It's so electric. It's relentless. Before I ask you how you thought of that round, how have you got it? We're 3 rounds in.
I thought Daniel just nicked that round. I've got it 2 rounds to 1 to Dubois. But the thing that I think is really interesting here, Steve, already we're going into the 4th round, and I think Daniel Dubois is showing signs of tired. He's getting tired. He's having to think. He's having to work so much harder. He's just those little signs for me, Steve, that he's tiring a little bit. And Usyk, you know you can't tire against him, because he'll pick. If I'm picking up on it, he certainly will.
I'm trying to see in the corner there if Don Charles is getting to him. I'm not quite sure Don Charles is getting to him. This might be a pivotal round. There's something about Usyk tonight. He's not playing around. He's not messing around. There's no half shots. There's no tappy stuff. There's no laughter. It's pure business, Ronald.
We go into the 4th round. Oleksandr Usyk in his 13th world title fight across cruiser and heavyweight. Remember, he was the undisputed kingpin at 200 pounds as well. Daniel Dubois making the second defense of the IBF title that was upgraded via email after he beat Hrgovic for the interim title. And what a legitimization of his status as IBF champion was when he knocked out Anthony Joshua here in the 5th round in September of 2024 last year. Right hand lead out of the southpaw stance, lands from Usyk, then he turns it into a jab, goes looking, searches the left cross. Daniel Dubois trying to bob and weave in front of his man, fed another right jab from Oleksandr Usyk, who is more effective at finding his range. Jab shot out by Daniel Dubois, but Usyk smartly dips beneath it. And now Usyk just continuing to remain on the edge of range. Right cross wasn't too far away from Dubois, who's continuing to press, but tucking up like a turtle behind high-held gloves was Oleksandr Usyk beyond range before stepping back into punching range. And Daniel Dubois pumping out heavy jabs now, but he's only finding the glove defenses of the former undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Remember, Oleksandr Usyk never lost the title in the ring. It was boxing politics that forced him to vacate the crown, and that was picked up by Daniel Dubois. So here they are, running it back after their first go-round in Wrocław in Poland a couple of summers ago. Now it's Daniel Dubois with home territory. His mouth is wide open, but he's grinding his way forward. Scores with the right cross, and to be picked off by a single shot from Oleksandr Usyk, and now the two men letting their hands go, but Daniel Dubois spits out a huge glove of saliva mixed with a fleck of red. He may have been cut to the mouth as we go beyond the halfway stage of this 4th round. Cries of Usyk, Usyk reverberating around ringside here. Solid right jab landed by Oleksandr Usyk with the two men on top of the logo at centre ring. Daniel Dubois isn't yet closing the gap, fed another flicking, darting right jab which scores. He tries to counter with a left jab of his own, was off the mark, as was the follow-up jab, and so too was Oleksandr Usyk's counter left cross inaccurate. And it's Daniel Dubois trying to get on the front foot and back up Oleksandr Usyk once again. Oleksandr Usyk near the neutral corner on the far side of the ring, but like Houdini, he escaped from a seemingly confined position back to the safety and sanctuary of ring centre. 40 seconds remaining here in round number 4. Lead right hook lands by Oleksandr Usyk, and perhaps that's coming out of the sight line of Daniel Dubois, and again he's working incredibly hard, bobbing and weaving in front of his man. There's a right hand to the body, and interestingly Oleksandr Usyk tapped his waistband because it landed on the red waistband. No other ill effect shown, and then he steps back into range and helps himself to a left cross. Is Daniel Dubois going to try and fight on the edge of the rule book as Usyk comes back with a left cross? Left cross over the top once again from Oleksandr Usyk is a scoring shot, then a right hook, and then the two men momentarily fall into a clinch before Daniel Dubois disengages. Corkscrew left uppercut attempted out of the southpaw stance by Oleksandr Usyk. Right hand over the top as the bell sounds to end round number 4. We're going to head up to the red corner as Daniel Dubois looking out over the ropes in search of his father, Dave, who's also known as Stanley. Let's listen in to Don Charles issuing the instructions.
Don't drink the first one. Alright. Trust me, all I want is a double jab, you know that, to edge him back. Then throw a right hook. He's crying up, because he does that, go around the guard, the right hook to the head, or to the body, okay? And come back with a left hook up the top of it, yeah?
Very simple, Rich and Don Charles. All I want is a double left jab to edge him back. All you've wanted is a double left jab to edge him back.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we've been saying most of the week, is that double jab is going to be so important. I just thought that Daniel slowed down a little bit. He may have learned from the first fight where he doesn't have to work 100% of every second of every round. He may have just had a little breather there, Steve.
No, he slowed down, Rich. You're being kind.
Yeah.
So we move into round number 5. The undisputed heavyweight championship of the world here on BBC 5 Live and BBC Sound. Daniel Dubois making the second defense of his IBF title, out on the front foot, looking to snake out that left jab that he's... Oh, there's a beautiful right cross landed by Daniel Dubois, sending a shower of spray from the head of Oleksandr Usyk, but he keeps his composure back with his boxing stance and scores with a good right jab to the sternum. Now Oleksandr Usyk moving clockwise to his left at the two men just on the razor's edge of range in the middle of the boxing ring. Usyk comes back with a right jab of his own as Daniel Dubois just disengages, backs off before stepping back into range, only to run into a right jab from Oleksandr Usyk, who then spun off the line, counterclockwise to his right. Oh, right cross attempted by Daniel Dubois, but it went long and only caught Oleksandr Usyk with the forearm. Cries of Usyk, Usyk reverberating around the arena once again. Right jab scored by Oleksandr Usyk, then a right hook, left cross. And Daniel Dubois backing up here now. He's remaining in ring, but there's a solid left cross followed by a right hook. And Daniel Dubois backing up because he would have felt the power of that two-shot salvo. But Daniel Dubois, like the IBF champion he is, bites down and tries to fight fire with fire and lands a furious right cross. And Daniel Dubois knocked down by a shot from Oleksandr Oleksandr Usyk, he's taking a knee, as he did in the contest in Wrocław 2 summers ago, looking for his father Dave in this red corner. He has beaten the count. Daniel Dubois on the canvas yet again. Remember, he was on the floor 3 times in the first round against Kevin Lerena. As Oleksandr Usyk steps back in, right hook, left cross, and a thumping roundhouse left. Buckles the knees and deposits Daniel Dubois on the canvas for the second time in the round. He's on the seat of his pants. He's looking in the corner. The towel has come in. He's not beaten the count. And Daniel Dubois has been dethroned as the IBF heavyweight champion of the world. Oleksandr Usyk sinks to his knees in celebration because he has reclaimed the totemic title of the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world for the second time. Oleksandr Usyk, his skill set unrivaled, his will indomitable, his record undefeated, and the clinician from Ukraine, the southpaw genius out of Crimea, is the winner, and once again the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Oleksandr Usyk, invincible. Well, you have to feel for Daniel Dubois. He gave it everything he had as he sought to get onto the front foot and press Oleksandr Usyk. He had brief cameos of success, but Oleksandr Usyk, with his pinpoint accuracy as though guided by laser, began to find him with heavy shots. And Oleksandr Usyk has made his way over to the red corner and is exchanging sentiments with Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois, good to see him back up on his feet and able to move around under his own coordination. But Oleksandr Usyk, during the course of an exchange, was the man with the greater firepower, the man with the greater accuracy, and it was a right cross, a right hook out of the southpaw stance that caused Daniel Dubois to take a knee for the first time. So Oleksandr Usyk continuing to celebrate with his team as the Jumbotron replaying the concluding stages of the 5th round. The round where Daniel Dubois knocked out Anthony Joshua in this very ring in September of last year. But on this occasion, a 5th round ending has seen Oleksandr Usyk regain the lofty status of undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. It was a valiant display by Dynamite Daniel Dubois, but ultimately Oleksandr Usyk cementing his status as the greatest heavyweight of his generation. It's his 3rd rematch tonight, his 3rd against British boxers, and on every occasion he has come out on top. Besting Anthony Joshua back-to-back, besting Tyson Fury, and now he has bested Daniel Dubois on 2 occasions. The winner, and once again the undisputed king of the heavyweight division, is Oleksandr Usyk.
You know what, Ronald? I'm looking over there. There's his brother Solomon in tears, absolute tears. The family seems divided. At the moment there when he went down, there was calls for him to get up from Frank Warren, but Stan Dave, the father, wasn't asking for him to get up, wasn't pleading. That was the most vicious I've ever seen Oleksandr Usyk. And I'll just tell you why, shall I? I'll give you the reason why he was so vicious and so motivated. In December, when Usyk beat Tyson Fury, Daniel Dubois gate crashed the ring at the end of the fight. And at the moment he gate crashed the ring, Usyk was talking about his father with tears in his eyes, and Dubois gate crashed that, and Usyk has held that as a grudge ever since. Everybody in the camp knew, and I found that out just an hour before the fight started. It was all down to that interruption. That's what gave Usyk that edge, that nasty edge tonight.
We'll get the official result imminently from Michael Buffer, but what a performance that was tonight from Oleksandr Usyk, who first of all is given the green WBC belt, and he might need more arms than he's got because he's going to leave with a whole host of them. He's the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world once again. He's done that twice. He was the undisputed cruiserweight champion, still undefeated as a professional, 16 years since he last lost. But there was just a look about him tonight on his ring walk that said that things were different. You've now explained that perfectly. The grudge that he held from the celebrations and the conversation about his father, and he certainly dished out what he intended to in this Wembley Stadium ring. And just tell everybody what you just said to me. You pulled my headphones to one side and you said what?
I'll tell you what, that man we saw in there tonight, weighing whatever it did, 16.5 stone, that Oleksandr Usyk, on any night, on any given night, on any given time period, could compete with any heavyweight in history, any heavyweight.
52 seconds of round number 5. The winner by knockout victory, once again undisputed and still the undefeated heavyweight champion of the world, the fighting pride of Ukraine, Oleksandr Usyk.
So Oleksandr Usyk reveling in his moment of glory at having been declared a 5th round TKO winner over his familiar rival Dynamite Daniel Dubois, earning a repeat victory from their first encounter in Wrocław in Poland a couple of summers ago. And again, what more can be said about this man? We are running out of superlatives. Every puzzle that is posed in front of him, he finds a way to figure it out. He had rough moments because of the pressure that Daniel Dubois was applying, but he always finds an answer. He always adapts, brings it to his opponent, and tonight his finish was absolutely ruthless. Oleksandr Usyk, the winner, and once again, the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world.
Ronald, thank you. And I think it was a pertinent point, Richie, that you made at the end of round 4. Dubois' feet were flatter, the spring in his step had gone, he was starting to lean back a little bit when he was throwing shots, he was completely committed to throwing punches for the first 3 rounds. There was a theory that the writing was starting to be on the wall at that stage.
Showing the signs of being tired, most definitely, and, you know, let's go back to when... you want? Okay, sorry.
Let's just get into the ring and listen to Oleksandr Usyk.
At all.
38 это уже старое или еще нет?
38, it's a young guy, remember. 38, it's only start.
You made this look a lot easier than you did when you fought Daniel Dubois nearly 2 years ago. How comes in rematches you always make it look easier?
Почему у тебя всегда получается в рематче легче, чем в первом бою?
I don't know. I think I wanna say thank you, Jesus Christ. I wanna say thank you, Virgil Maria. I wanna say thank you, my team and your Wembley. Thank you so much.
We've spoken so many times before. The first time you beat Tyson Fury, you said you did it for your father. The second time you said you did it for your country, Ukraine. What's the victory for today?
Первый раз ты сказал, что ты сделал с Фьюри для папы, второй раз ты что сделал для своей страны. Для чего этот третий бой после назначения?
The people.
It's for people. It's for all world people.
You are a 3-time undisputed champion, 2-time at heavyweight. What more, Oleksandr, do you want? The challenges are going to keep on coming. What more do you want to do?
Брат, ты два раза undisputed champion в heavyweight, один раз в cruiserweight, это уже 3 раза undisputed champion. Что ты больше еще можешь достичь?
Nothing. It's enough. Next, I don't know. I wanna rest. Yeah, Derek here. I don't know. I wanna back in home. That's my family. That's my wife, my children. I wanna rest now, but maybe 2-3 months. I wanna rest, just a rest.
But the challenges are here. There is a queue, a very big queue. Derek's here on my side. Tyson Fury wants to fight again. Joseph Parker, Agit Kaviel. They all want to fight you, Oleksandr. Who next?
Кто следующий?
Oh, maybe it's Tyson Fury. Maybe we have three options. Derek Chisora and Anthony Joshua. Maybe Joseph Parker. Listen, I cannot now say, because I wanna back home. Yeah.
And you deserve to go home and rest.
Sorry, again.
And you deserve to go home and rest.
Thank you so much. Listen, people, thank you so much. Я хочу подякувати. I say Ukrainian language because я хочу подякувати всій Україні, всім хлопцям, які зараз боронять нашу країну. Я вчора отримав безліч повідомлень, і сьогодні також, від різних підрозділів, які боронять мою країну на лінії фронту. Хлопці, слава Україні! Ви неймовірні! Ви дозволяєте мені бути зараз тут. Thank you so much, people! Команда! I love you! Wembley!
Oleksandr, congratulations, pound for pound king, undisputed champion again. A quick word on your opponent, Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois deserved and tried to be great today. What words of advice would you give to the former IBF heavyweight champion?
What was it, performance?
Daniel Dubois dreamed and aimed to be great today. What words of advice would Oleksandr Usyk give to Daniel Dubois?
Он как бы спал и видел этот бой выиграть, чтобы действительно, что-то бы ты не дал ему. Какой непонятно.
Bro, I'm sorry, it's sport, but my people wanna this winner.
Don't kick the horses. Oleksandr, thank you very much. Let's go and speak to Daniel Dubois very quickly. Frank, Daniel, Don. Daniel, you dared to be great today. You challenged yourself against arguably one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. It wasn't your night, but it was an incredible performance. How would you sum up that performance from yourself?
I have to commend him on the performance. I gave everything I had. It just wasn't, probably a few things I could have sharpened up on, but take no credit away from the man. I'll be back.
No doubt you will be back. We've seen it before. The jab was key last time round. You didn't throw or land enough jabs. Did you think maybe you would have landed more jabs and more to the body like your team were telling you to do?
I was just fighting, man. I was in a fight and I was just trying to pick out round by round, but it is what it is. I'll be back.
Don, I want to quickly bring you in, Don. You've masterminded the last 18 months. Come in, Don. I know you don't really like to be on camera and say things, but it was a brave performance. But ultimately, he's in there against an all-time great, Don.
Most definitely, that was never in doubt. We tried to get going. He's a young champion, Daniel Dubois, 27 years old. Remarkable what he's achieved to date. He'll be back from this stronger. That's a great champion, generational great. There's no, if you're gonna lose to someone like that. You understand? He'll be back from this. Yeah. Thank the audience.
Yeah, I want to thank everyone for coming out. I gave my best. We'll go back to the drawing board and come again.
Frank, let's quickly bring you in. Frank, you've had Daniel from the very, very beginning. It was a brave performance from him, Frank. Maybe not what you expected, it certainly wasn't, but again, commend the guy in front of him, Oleksandr Usyk.
Alexander Usyk is a modern-day legend. He's an unbelievable fighter. In any generation, he'd be a great fighter, and I'll take my hat off to him tonight. You know, Daniel was ready for it. He was up and trained hard. No complaints, no excuses. The better man won on the night. He is a fabulous, fabulous champion.
Finally, Frank, you seem to have all the other heavyweights that he mentioned there. He mentioned Joseph Parker, he mentioned Caballero, Fury, Chisora. What heavyweight would you like to see him in with next?
WBO, I'm sure, or they already have, ordered that he, being the WBO champion, has to make his defence, mandatory defence, against Joe Parker. So it's Joe Parker's time.
Frank, congratulations on another incredible event. Wembley Stadium packed out again. You must be happy.
And I'd like to thank everybody for tonight for coming along. You made it a fabulous night. It was a fabulous fight. And God bless you all and a safe journey home.
Thank you very much, Frank. Guys.
So we hear there from Oleksandr Usyk and from Daniel Dubois as well. Steve, just kind of before we got the official result from Michael Buffy and make that point that he would give any heavyweight of any generation on tonight's performance a fight, would you go as far as to say that he's top 10 all-time, pound for pound now, based on what we've seen?
I might have bet him in that top 10 before tonight's performance. And I think after tonight he's definitely in there, because he had to grit his teeth here tonight. There were moments there when Dubois was imposing himself physically, and you could see him gritting his teeth, digging his toes in and letting his fists go.
It's one of those nights where we're speaking to everybody we possibly can. Frank Warren's just said that Joseph Parker will be next. He's speaking to Stacey.
He is. He's just congratulating Usyk at the moment, actually. They're just embracing in the middle of the ring and sharing a few words. Joe Parker obviously offering his congratulations to him. So as soon as he stops doing that, we'll be able to chat to him. But he is just embracing him just for a moment. Lots of mutual respect between the two. But Joe, a nice embrace between you and Usyk there. Huge respect between the two of you.
There's always respect between fighters. But I do want what he has, and he looked incredible tonight. Power, aggression, punched with bad intentions. Daniel put up a great fight from the beginning. It was going back and forth, but in the end, Usyk just broke him down systematically and got him out of there.
Was it what you expected?
I expected him. I did expect him. What Daniel showed, I didn't expect. He showed a better Daniel than he did in the first fight. It just shows maturity, growth, confidence, but ultimately in the end, Usyk is just a sensational fighter who has beaten everyone put in front of him. So I would love the opportunity to see if I can make a difference.
Well, if this boxing thing's working out well for you, but if not, you've perhaps got a career in music, because your music videos to try and entice an opponent are incredible. What would be your ultimate dream fight next?
Ultimate dream fight is this guy right here. I want to fight for all the belts. Undisputed unified champion of the world is what I want.
Well, Joe, we hope you get the opportunity. Great to chat to you. Thanks for chatting to us.
Thank you, Stacey. Great to hear from Joe Parker. So what chance would you give him if it's Joseph Parker against Oleksandr Usyk next? What do you think about that? He's on a roll himself, Joe.
Well, I'll tell you why I think it will happen. Because there will not be a rematch. And there might be a third fight in 3 years' time. Who knows? Stranger things have happened in boxing. But there will not be a rematch after what we saw tonight. Let's get that absolutely right. So, according to my research earlier, speaking to the 4 sanctioning bodies, the number 1 sanctioning body is the WBO. They have Parker. That fight will be made.
We've got about 5 minutes before we've got to leave here, so let's kind of take that into account as we whiz through the night. What about Daniel Dubois? Don Charles and Frank Warren said he'll be back. He's only 27. 3 losses, Joe Joyce, and 2 to Oleksandr Usyk. And the 2 to Usyk, there's no disgrace in that. What does the future look like for him?
Well, I think the future is still fairly bright for Daniel Dubois because of his age. You know what? The ironic thing tonight, Fletch, is I thought Daniel Dubois boxed better tonight than he did in the first fight with Usyk.
Miles better.
And yet he's been beaten because your man's gone to another level.
Richie, let me just interrupt you. Let's head back to Stacey. Stacey, is there a face-off between Usyk and Jake Paul over there, or what?
Yeah, indeed, there just has been, yeah. It was quite interesting. Obviously, lots of cameras around, and I think it was half jokingly, but you just never know in this sport. But yes, the two came face to face. A great show of respect straight after, though, when they shook hands. But yes, there was a face-to-face in the ring.
OK, I think that would be a complete mismatch. I'm not quite ready for that just yet, although in this balmy sport that we all love, you never know. Talk about what you saw tonight, Richie, from Oleksandr Usyk. I mean, we thought that Dubois looked focused and ready, but the moment he walked out in the Parker, I mean, you thought, hang on a second, he looks even more focused than we've seen him before, Usyk, tonight. So he looked as good as ever on his way to the ring, and then didn't he deliver when he got in there?
Alexander Usyk did what he does, Fletch. He assesses the situation, he assesses the opponent and how good he is and what the threat is, and then he adapts to it, and he went to another level. He made him miss 2 or 3 times at the end there, and then caught him with some absolute belting shots. But I give all credit to Daniel Dubois. He went out on his shield, I think, tonight.
He's got an amazing ability, Ron. Even if somebody starts fast against him, it never phases him. He just works it out under pressure, changes things, delivers, and we saw it again tonight. Everybody said in the build-up, Daniel's got to start fast, and he did that. He was trying to throw shots, had some early success. But you can see the computer inside Usyk's head working everything out, and after 2 or 3 rounds, he's worked it all out, then he takes control, and we saw that again tonight.
The depth of Oleksandr Usyk's pedigree that you've been speaking about all night, Fletch. 350 amateur bouts, only losing twice. Steve Bunt and I foresaw him as a 75-kilogram middleweight at the European Championships in Plovdiv in 2006. 2 Olympic Games, a gold medal, world champion in 2011 in the amateurs, and then undisputed at cruiserweight, 2-time at heavyweight. There is nothing in a boxing ring that this man hasn't seen, and it's impossible to phase or throw off his game.
It's an absolute pleasure to be ringside to see him work, isn't it?
You know what, it's not just to see him work, but to see him work under, and it's rare, under real pressure. And Fletch, let's get this absolutely right. Once we saw him backstage, once we saw him leave here, we said on air 40 minutes ago, we're not going to see a normal performance tonight. This is going to be special. I've never seen him look so focused, and I've only just been given the reason why. I think he was savage tonight, and you don't often use that word when you're talking about Usyk. That finishing, you watch it back in slow motion. He's snarling as he's using the finishing shots. That was a great Usyk tonight.
Yeah, he made his opponent miss, and he made Daniel miss, and then he come back with the counters. I think, as like I said, Usyk, he assesses the situation and the threat that's there, and it was more of a threat. And like I say, it's ironic that Daniel has boxed better tonight, but he's been dismantled with those bigger shots in the end.
But to the point you were making earlier as well, Fletch, again, I think it just speaks to the pedigree, and Usyk knows far more than Daniel Dubois at this stage of his career. What Daniel showed after his last defeat against Usyk is that it didn't damage his fighting spirit. He went away, he improved with that terrific tear over a 10-month period, defeating those 3 top-tier heavyweights. He's going to have to rebuild again. If his confidence hasn't been too badly damaged, let's hope he can learn from this once more.
I would imagine it has been damaged, because he'll watch it back, and we saw him basically, and maybe fall apart's too harsh, but that's basically what we saw happen in front of our eyes tonight. He got tired really quickly, and then once Usyk I know the finishing shot was a sensational shot, would have dropped to just about every heavyweight, but he started to fall apart, he started to show it, and he started to show he was hurt, and he started to back away. And I tell you what, his confidence might come back, but it's tough.
What a fantastic night, Ron.
Absolutely incredible. What a privilege to be here ringside. And Oleksandr Usyk, as he said, 38 years of age, is not old. And I would maintain, I'm interested to know what you think, I don't see any signs of slippage. Absolutely incredible, physically, mentally, tactically, no slippage whatsoever. That's why he's a 2-time undisputed heavyweight champ.
Final thoughts, Rich?
Yeah, tremendous, classy display by Oleksandr Usyk, and fair play to Daniel Dubois. He played his part. It was a cracking night, great atmosphere. Pleasure to be here, Ron.
And we've been in the presence of greatness, Steve, haven't we, tonight? The presence of greatness.
We have, and we've seen that greatness manifest itself in one of the finest performances to take down a really dangerous fighter. That was the best of Usyk. I loved every second of it, Fletch.
The good news is there's more of this, because Bunsey and Richie and the team are going to put the podcast together, so that'll be out later. We'll be walking around the bowels of Wembley Stadium, speaking to the great and good and breaking down the fight. Tonight, Daniel Dubois entered this ring at Wembley Stadium with a dream in his mind. He wanted to be the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. What he didn't factor in was just how good the great Oleksandr Usyk would turn out to be. 5 explosive rounds, a TKO victory for the great Ukrainian, who becomes the undisputed heavyweight champion for the 2nd time. He's been the undisputed cruiserweight champion as well. He's an all-time great of this magnificent sport, and as always, it's been a privilege to watch him. Thanks for your company tonight. Oleksandr Usyk leaves here with all of the belts.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.